Hey, what's up, fellas? I'm Malicious Female Fan Steve Malicious here, back with the Nokia Lumia 830, and allow me to introduce you to the cockroach of the cell phone world. And I mean that in a complimentary way, especially if you, like I am, are a Windows Phone fan. So, the 830 survived Windows 10 end of life, okay? Microsoft said, see you later. Still going. You can still get plenty of stuff done on it, which we'll talk about in a moment. And somehow, with phones and devices from 2019, some from 2020, not surviving the AT&T apocalypse that's coming early next year, this phone from 2014 is on the supported list. Now, this particular one got kicked off the network. That's a discussion I'm going to have with them later in the week. I got it working with a SIM that I had from Red Pocket Mobile. But if you have one of these that's AT&T branded, you literally could slap a nano SIM in it today and it won't give you a message, it won't lock you out, none of that stuff. And the fact that you could still use this is amazing to me. So I said, you know what, let's pull it back out, put a SIM in it, and see what we've got. Of course, we got the nice, for Halloween, it's October, we got the nice orange and orange theme going on here. So, the 830, how's it doing? Listen, pretty well. Pretty well. You think about it, this device has a gig of RAM. A gig. One. And for some of the basic things that you can do, whether it's text, whether it's email, whether it's YouTube, believe it or not, there's some other things you could get on here. Twitter and Instagram, it's a toss-up. Xbox Companion, talking with your friends, looking at achievements, stuff like that. But, it's at least a conversation. The performance of what this can do at 8 years old on an OS that's not entirely supported anymore with a gig of RAM versus some of the budget offerings you could get for $100 and $200 with triple or quadruple the amount of RAM. And I would say, for my money, on some of those things that we'll talk about in a moment, the experience is better on the Lumia 830. So if you're looking for just a good, cheap device, still going to be supported. Now listen, Windows Phones, I'm speaking to a different group here, right? I'm speaking to people who are hardcore Windows Phones fans. They're not worried about security for banking and all that stuff going online or whatever. Microsoft Edge is good enough for a lot of things they want to do. All right, you're not going to be doing a lot of the 2021 stuff, wireless pay. You're not doing that, okay? But if you understand what you're getting into and you're a Windows Phone fan, the 830 is still perfectly usable. Now, if you have one, or if you pick up one of these cheap on eBay, it's going to have stock Windows 8.1 on there, which is useless. All right, it's useless. But it is eligible for a Windows 10 update over the cable, okay, OTC. Now, there are some tweaks you got to make to that. Look it up on Reddit, look it up online. My past Windows Phone applications videos, I believe, or one of those phones, I think it's for the 830. One of my previous videos on the 830, I include a link to how to do all that stuff. So I'll put one of those cards up in the top left or right, whatever it happens to be, to get you going on your way there. But let's talk about what you can do still on it. Let me make sure I'm not revealing any numbers here real quick. We talk about it all the time, but I don't know how many times I've actually shown it. The on-screen keyboard for Windows Phone, if you've never used it, puts the devices that we have today for on-screen keyboard to shame. To shame. Look at the use of space there. Look at how nice and wide those keys are. Look at how everything's laid out. When I go to the question mark over there, exclamation point there, nice block letters. It's so easy and smooth to type on, and it feels like you just make less mistakes. Whatever the reason happens to be, whether predictive text or however it works, or just the overall shape of it, because they use the space really well, it's just super well done. And it's one of the nicer typing experiences you're still going to have on a cell phone, period, ended, from any time period. So the fact that you can still get that and still have it viable, to me, is fantastic. YouTube calls is going to be fine, right? Text is fine. Email's fine. Just like always, you can have your Gmail on here. I have a Gmail account on my other one. No issue there. Xbox if you're a gamer. Okay, if you're part of the Microsoft ecosystem, still works fine. It's going to take a minute, right? It's a Snapdragon. Think about that. This is a Snapdragon 400 on a gig of RAM, and you're still able to do stuff. So friend achievements, okay, works fine, loads up, couple snags, but what can you expect? The thing that, listen, the best app, my favorite YouTube app, which I think works even better than the stock Google YouTube app on Android, and certainly better than the iOS one, is MyTube. And if you haven't spent the $1.99 yet for MyTube, I certainly would go ahead and do it. Let's pull up one of my favorite channels here. Oh, Steve Alicious Tech. How about that? This is one of the... Look at this integration. And you could talk about... Now, you could talk about Material U. Okay? Material U coming out for Android 12. How your accent color... Oh, just going. Look at it. But the menus... That stuff on the bottom, you turn it here. You have the full screen. 1080p with the... 720p, I'm sorry. With the progress bar. Look at how good that looks. Running smooth, HD, that's fantastic on a phone from 2014 that you can still use today. And the accent color, like I was saying, with the keyboard and that there, you know, Material U, where you pick that color and it kind of goes through the entirety of the OS. We had that with Windows Phone way back. You know, we were enjoying that dark mode. Forget about it. That's what we had. You had light mode, you had dark mode on Windows Phone. So we were having that a long time ago, saving battery life. So some of the features are still getting caught up. Microsoft To Do works fine. Twitter is going to work fine. Okay, Twitter's going to be your web app. And that's one of the great things and the reason why an upgrade to Windows 10 Mobile isn't optional. All right, it's required. You upgrade. I know that pains Windows Phones people a lot when they talk about 8.1 and the preferences, especially the aesthetics of it, as opposed to Windows 10. Windows 10 is mandatory because you need Microsoft Edge, because that's going to open up a whole world of applications, web-based applications, and that's how you can use, let's see if I have it pulled up here. I have my Microsoft account pulled up. But, you know, Instagram works fine on here. You know, you're going to have to get over the fact that oh, hold on. That's fine. You can see that email. You're going to have to get over the fact that you could see this over. It's just going to say this over and over again. See right there? This web browser is no longer supported. But you X out of that, you know, once it loads up, you're going to have a decent Instagram experience on a phone from 2014 that you could still use. So the fact that if things ever load up, there it goes. But, you know, it's overall, it's a lot more functional than you would think. And if you're deciding between holding on to something like this, or maybe being in that 150, 200 category with some of these Android devices, they're painful to use, depending on what you get. So this, if you could find one cheap, you know, 30, 40, 50 bucks, you got one laying around, you're still holding on to one, there's no reason. And you can't beat this design. I mean, I understand the plastic, but first of all, can we talk about this fact that this is wireless charge? It's not very good, but it had it. You know, micro USB, headphone jack, but the screen, Gorilla Glass 3, which for 2014 was quite good, quite nice. I like this design. In fact, if you told me to choose between this design and the 930, I'm choosing this, quite frankly. I like the fact that it's thinner. I like the squared off it, the way they did that with the aluminum stuff, with the plastic, with the color, with the removable back, which is nice. So you can have removable battery. You can put your SIM card in, micro SD expansion. Lots to like here still. And that's a surprise. You have the Bing backgrounds for the backgrounds back and forth. Now, it's hit and miss with some stuff. Some of the Microsoft, the MSN apps, I wasn't able to get to work. You know, some of them are kind of gone at this point. But light picture stuff, light app stuff, light social media stuff. It's going to do a heck of a lot better than your BlackBerry 10 devices at this point. And it's going to run a heck of a lot better, too. So if you're coming from that world and you want something with that old feel, a little bit different, you don't want to follow the crowd and get an old iPhone or old S Galaxy, whatever. You can get something like this and still have something a little bit different, something unique, but something quite cool that still works and it still feels alive. I know it's not supported. And there are ways to get apps on here and all the rest of it. But it still feels kind of alive with the tiles. Even if they're not updating all the social media that they used to, and the Facebook integration isn't there anymore, and WhatsApp's not there. I had a little trouble getting into Skype. Okay, I wasn't able to log in. It said my account didn't exist, even though that's the account that I'm logged in with Outlook Mail. So I had a little bit of an issue there. But other than that, you really have to be pleased. And the fact that this is on the list of supported devices for AT&T coming into 2022. When things that you'd think are a lot newer and more powerful as Snapdragon 855s and 65s are being thrown away, this survives. And that's okay. That's a good thing. You know, that's a really good thing. I think the only Nokia branded Windows phone that is surviving, at least on the list, that supports voice over LTE. But you know what? You don't look a gift horse, right? This is good enough for us. I like the fact that this is going to be able to be viable, be able to stay in your pocket for at least another year, another little bit. And it's not junk. It's not a toy. It's not something you put a SIM in because you want to have a little fun and get a conversation piece going for an afternoon. You could do stuff on this. You know, you get that social media in there. You get the text and the email and all the rest of it. And it's just fun to use and hold in your hand, the pocket and the design and all that. Yeah, come on. I gotta tell Windows Phone people I want a Windows Phone. You know you love it. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We even got even more Windows Phone stuff coming next week. I finally got a 640. It's on the way in blue. So go ahead, tussle that subscribe button. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day.